This preview of the Max Level podcast is brought to you by Technisport Gaming Chairs. Use offer code LDG to save 10% whenever you make a purchase on a brand new gaming chair, desk, or accessories at TechnisportUSA.com. To hear the show in its entirety every Monday morning at 5 a.m. Eastern, please subscribe on iTunes or your favorite podcast app of choice. Be sure to click that subscribe button, hit the like, turn notifications on, and drop a comment down below. The news that made me most excited this week, The Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel 3, we are not skipping this, has been announced for localization in North America and Europe on PlayStation 4. The interesting thing here is that Xseed Games is not handling the localization, and instead the translation is being done by the team over at NAS America who handled Ys 8 Lacrimosa of Dana for Nihon Falcom. Quote, nearly a year and a half has passed since the Erebonian Civil War, and much has changed since then. From the shifting stances of countries to the internal politics of the Empire, and even the life of Reen Schwarzer, the shadows of the past have given way to the embers of a new chapter. Now graduated from Thor's Military Academy, Reen has become an instructor at the Thor's Branch campus, a newly opened academy that quickly finds itself thrust onto the national stage. It is here that he takes the lead of a brand new Class 7, and must guide a new generation of heroes into an unknown future. Though all is calm now, the nefarious Ouroboros organization continues to weave a dark plot that could engulf the entire continent in war, or perhaps something even more sinister. Trails of Cold Steel 3 invites players into a world full of intrigue and excitement that is years in the making. They will embark on a whirlwind tour through never-before-seen lands of the recently expanded Erebonian countryside, and encounter fresh faces as well as old friends familiar to fans of the series. In true Trails fashion, the deep, engaging story pairs with an incredible cast of characters and a combat system refined over decades of innovative RPG world-building. This renowned title has also now been developed natively for PlayStation 4 hardware, which is a series first. So, just for a few minutes, I want to speculate on what's going on between Xseed, NAS America, and Nihon Falcom, and if we will ever see Xseed potentially handle anything for Falcom again. So, the reason that I wanted to put off recording today a little bit is because PAX South is currently going on down there in Texas. I think it's in San Antonio. They had a panel today. NAS America did a localization panel where they had some news on Trails of Cold Steel 3. So what we know right now is that several people from Xseed that worked previously on Trails of Cold Steel 1 and 2 and the previous entries like Trails in the Sky 2nd chapter, and Trails in the Sky the 3rd, some of those people are now at NAS America working on Trails of Cold Steel 3. So some of the staff that was responsible for the localization at Xseed are now over at NAS America. I don't know if they went there strictly because Trails is now at NAS America or if that is a big reason of why they got the contract. I'm not sure. But from what I understand, NAS America has had the contract for Trails of Cold Steel 3 since October of 2017. So about a year and 4 months now is when they started working on it. Xseed is continuously, it seems like, bleeding employees. Like a couple people left in October last year, a couple people left in the summer. I'm not sure what's going on, but I'm not sure if they have the resources really to handle the localization anymore of such a big game, because this game has 2.2 million kanji characters, 1.1 million words. It's the biggest, it's 2.4 times the size of The Witcher 3 in terms of script. Like the game is massive. It's going to be about 150 hours from start to finish when you start playing the game. It's literally going to take almost 200 hours to beat this game. It's just absurd how big this actually is. So I think that NAS America, which is they're obviously relatively bigger than Xseed Games, has a bigger, what do I want to say? They have more resources to handle the localization. They have the ability to, pay a bigger team or pay for whatever. Like they have the ability to handle a localization, I think, not only faster, but I want to say more efficiently, but at the same time, Xseed is pretty efficient as well. And what a lot of people are hung up on is the fact that Xseed usually puts out a fantastic localization, but NAS America, they're hit or miss. Sometimes they're good localizations. Sometimes you can tell it was rushed and they're bad localizations. So you really aren't sure what you're getting.
Oh, put out the last one that had to be corrected for Cold Steel 2. Was that Xseed?
Cold Steel 2 was fine. You're thinking of Ys 8, which was NAS America.
I was thinking of Ys 8, which okay, so it was NAS.
Yep.
That's not good then.
Well, if you remember, because when they put out the PC port, they had to take it back off sale.
That's
and
right. That's right.
They had to fix the script and it is what it is. I mean, I didn't have nearly the amount of issues that people had with with Ys 8 Lacrimosa of Dana. I thought that was actually a fun localization. I thought it was cute. I thought it was interesting. Like I didn't have any issues with it. Justin, who is a big fan of these games as well, Nihon Falcom's one of his studios, favorite studios, he had no issues with it. So I think a lot of these people are just up in arms for no reason. But that's what I want to touch on here for a minute, because I've seen a lot of outcry and people just so pissed off that NS America is working on Trails of Cold Steel 3 because they wanted XE to do it. And, you know, they're writing off the game now, you know, just calling NS America and the people there all these obscene names and things I don't even want to repeat because they are like in bad nature and bad taste. And, you know, they're getting nasty and they're getting violent and they're verbally harassing and abusing these people through like social media on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube video comments. And I want to speak on that for a second, because unless you know how to talk Japanese, unless you know how to read kanji, unless you know how to read Japanese, unless you understand the Japanese language in its native tongue, like, you know, if you're fluent in Japanese, then import the game and play it. Play it how it was meant to be played. Play it with the script that Nihon Falcom actually implemented into the game in its entirety. Do it. If you can read it, do it. But if you can't, like me and like Frank and like Justin, they're a good chunk of,
like Brian and Justin,
a good chunk of these people that play these games that get localized and imported from Japan, you know, from studios like NAS America, Xseed, Axis, whoever's, you know, a Spike Chunsoft, whoever's actually handling the localization for these games. If they weren't around, there'd be no chance for you to play this game in English. No chance. So just be appreciative.
You'd be dealing with fan translations and like guidebooking it through.
Exactly. And those aren't even, fan translations take so long because now there are 2 other Trails games in the franchise, Azure and Zero, which were released on the PSP, which have never been released here. And now NS America is talking about bringing those over as well. But those do have fan translations out, but it's taken them 10 plus years to do a fan translation because it's literally just 1 or 2 people working on it that have, you know, jobs that they go to on a day-to-day basis, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, whatever. They can't spend their Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 working on a translation like people at these companies can that get paid to do that.
It's not even simple translation. You can't just read something and then just go, you have to actually like reinterpret it, because what a phrase in Japanese can translate back to English, but it may not mean the same thing.
Right.
There's inflection.
You have to give it context. You have to make it make sense to a North American or a European speaking audience. Like they have to figure out ways to make things, like if they say something in Japan, find a food or, you know, a sport or a cultural difference that closely resembles what the intent was in the native Japanese tongue. So yeah, fan translations, when they do that, fan translations often just do it literally. Like fan translations oftentimes just don't make sense, but that's fine. I mean, you're still getting to play it, but whatever. But I think that there's too much entitlement out there right now in terms of people expecting a studio to work on something or expecting a studio, hey, this studio has to do this or I'm not playing it. But then don't fucking play it. And that's all I can say, because you're not entitled to one studio over another working on a game or localizing a game. Who chooses to, or who Falcom chooses to partner with to bring their games over is out of our control, first of all. But just be appreciative that some studio is taking their time to localize this game in English for you to play and continue to enjoy. It doesn't matter if they make mistakes. People are human. We make mistakes. I make mistakes all the time. Everyone makes mistakes. It's the part of being human and what makes people human. The more mistakes you make, the more human you actually are. If you are,
I am so human. I am more human than human.
If you're perfect, then you're an android or a robot. Like no one's perfect. That's what I'm trying to get at. Nobody is perfect. People make mistakes. I watched the panel at PAX South on Twitch, and the 2 people that they had up there on the stage that were talking about the localization when they got to Trails of Cold Steel 3, the girl in particular, she was so emotional, and you have to assume that it's because of like the hate that's been poured towards NAS America and like all the names that they've been called. And, you know, they're just sitting up there like she's talking like, we're going to do our best. We're going to put, you know, everything we can into this. It's the biggest script we've ever done. And like, you have to lay off. I don't even know how else to say it, but like, you have to give these people a break, man. You do, because they're just people like everyone else. We're just people. They're just doing a job like we're doing a job.
Nobody owes you anything. Shut your damn mouths, you filthy jabronis.
That's pretty much what that's pretty much it. But I just think that
I'm trying not to get yell and start cursing, but you shouldn't be treating people like that. Like you said, people are people, man. They don't owe you anything whatsoever.
Exactly. So, I mean, I just think we have to be appreciative that they are bringing the game over. Like, that's just it. We're going to get to play the game in English without having to, learn how to speak Japanese or play the game in Japanese and have like a translation off to the side. And, okay, what did he just say? Okay, so where am I at in the game? Oh, okay, yeah, okay. Next line. Oh, okay, yeah. And like literally turning a 150-hour game into 400 hours because you had to keep stopping and reading a script that was translated by somebody else. So at least we're getting to play the game the way it was meant to be played. I don't know. Moving on, because I don't want to talk too more on that. Thanks for checking out a preview of the Max Level Podcast. If you enjoyed what you just heard, be sure to click that subscribe button and turn notifications on, leave a like, and drop a comment down below. To hear the show in its entirety at 5 a.m. every Monday morning, be sure to subscribe on iTunes or your favorite podcast app of choice. We'll see you next time.